Most people think buying a Lexus means spending big money. But there are quiet, overlooked Lexus models selling for used Corolla money that can outlast almost anything on the road. These are the sleepers. No hype, no flex, just bulletproof reliability at prices that feel almost illegal. Today, I'm breaking down 5 criminally cheap Lexus models that run forever. Stay locked in. The first one might be the smartest used luxury buy in North America right now. Some cars announce themselves the moment you pull into a driveway. This one never did. The ES330 was bought by people who valued silence more than attention. And over time, it earned a reputation for doing something rare, staying out of your life completely. Years later, while trendier luxury sedans have disappeared, this one keeps showing up every morning like nothing changed. Under the hood sits a 3.3-liter naturally aspirated V6, making 225 horsepower paired to a 5-speed automatic that shifts like it has nothing to prove. No turbo stress, no experimental tech, just an old-school drivetrain that quietly piles on miles. Expect around 19 miles per gallon in the city and close to 29 on the highway, which still feels reasonable for a mid-size luxury sedan. This car makes the most sense for someone who wants zero drama. Commuters, rideshare drivers, or anyone who plans to own a car longer than they plan to impress strangers. The ride is soft, the cabin is calm, and the build quality feels more like a vault than a vehicle. It's not perfect. The front-wheel drive layout means you're not carving corners, and the steering is numb by design. But that trade-off buys you reliability. Known problems are refreshingly boring. Valve cover gasket seepage, tired engine mounts, aging suspension bushings, and the occasional power steering line leak if maintenance was ignored. When inspecting one, the biggest tell is how it shifts between second and third gear, especially when cold. A smooth transition and a quiet startup usually mean the car was cared for. Service records matter more than mileage here. The sweet spot years run from 2004 to 2006, and clean examples still trade between $4,000 and $6,000, which feels almost wrong considering how long these cars last. This is not a Lexus you fall in love with immediately. It's the Lexus you stop thinking about, because it never gives you a reason to worry. And next, we step into something far less predictable, an all-wheel drive Lexus sedan that almost nobody searches for, yet might be the smartest sleeper on this entire list. There's a certain type of sedan that only makes sense after you've owned something unreliable. The GS350 AWD was never flashy enough to chase trends, but it was engineered for people who wanted confidence in every season. Snow starts falling, roads get ugly, and this Lexus just shrugs and keeps moving. This sedan hides a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6, making 306 horsepower, paired to a 6-speed automatic that delivers power smoothly instead of dramatically. The all-wheel drive system adds weight, sure, but it also turns this car into a year-round weapon in cold climates. Snow, rain, bad pavement, it just goes. Fuel economy lands around 18 miles per gallon city and 26 highway, which feels fair considering the size and output. The ideal buyer is someone who wants one car to do everything quietly well. Professionals, long-distance commuters, or anyone tired of German luxury repair anxiety. The GS feels planted, solid, and confident in a way that doesn't age poorly. The steering isn't razor sharp, but the balance is there, and the chassis feels overbuilt rather than stressed. The downside is complexity. The AWD system means more components, more fluid changes, and slightly higher maintenance costs. Interior tech also feels dated, especially the infotainment, which can be clunky by modern standards. Still, the mechanicals are the real story here. Known issues are manageable if you know what to look for. Early models can develop carbon buildup from direct injection, suspension arms wear with mileage, and neglected transmissions can shift harshly if fluid was never serviced. None of these are deal breakers, they're reminders to buy carefully. When inspecting one, listen for suspension clunks over bumps, confirm smooth cold starts, and make sure all-wheel drive engages cleanly without binding. Service history matters more than trim level. The most reliable years sit between 2008 and 2011, and today, clean examples sell between $7,000 and $10,000, a fraction of what similar German sedans cost to own. This is the Lexus for people who don't need validation. Alright, quick pause. Grab your phone, hit subscribe, and tell me in the comments which city you're watching from. It helps the channel way more than you think, and it keeps videos like this coming your way. And coming up next, we go full executive, with a Lexus that used to carry CEOs and now sells for economy car money. Back when luxury still meant excess, this car sat quietly at the top of Lexus's lineup. Executives stepped out of it without ever raising their voices, because nothing about the LS460 needed to prove a point. Time passed, markets moved on, and somehow this rolling fortress became affordable to people who never imagined owning one. Under the hood lives a 4.6-liter naturally aspirated V8, making 380 horsepower paired to an 8-speed automatic that was engineered for smoothness, not speed. The car moves with authority, not urgency, and returns around 16 miles per gallon in the city and 24 on the highway. For something this large and refined, that's surprisingly reasonable. This car fits buyers who want flagship luxury without flagship payments, long highway commuters, retirees, anyone who values isolation from the outside world. The ride quality is calm, heavy, and confident, and the cabin still feels special even years later. Doors close with a sound you don't get anymore. Of course, the fear is maintenance, and some of it is justified. Air suspension components can fail, control arms wear out, and neglected cooling systems cause expensive headaches. But here's the truth. Most LS460 cars lived easy lives, serviced on schedule, and driven gently. Inspection is everything. Listen for suspension noise, test ride height changes, and verify smooth gear changes at low speeds. A well-maintained example will feel tight, not floaty. The safest years fall between 2008 and 2010, especially non-long wheelbase cars. Today, clean examples trade between $8,000 and $12,000, which is absurd considering what they used to cost. This isn't a car you drive hard. It's a car you arrive in. And next up, we flip the script completely. With a Lexus, most people don't even realize exists. Not every reliable car is born from popularity. Some survive because nobody pushed them too hard. The IS250 lived in the shadow of faster, louder siblings, and that anonymity turned into its greatest strength. While others were modified, raced, and worn down, this one was simply driven. Power comes from a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated V6, making 204 horsepower paired to either a 6-speed automatic or manual, depending on the year. It's not fast, and it never pretends to be, but it's smooth, balanced, and returns around 21 miles per gallon city and 30 highway. The rear-wheel drive layout gives it better weight balance than you'd expect from something this calm. The ideal buyer is someone who wants Lexus reliability in a smaller footprint. City drivers, first-time luxury buyers, anyone who values tight build quality over raw power. The IS feels solid, responsive, and easier to live with than larger sedans. There are trade-offs. Rear seat space is tight, and the interior design feels dated by modern standards. Direct injection on early engines can lead to carbon buildup over time, especially if oil changes were stretched. Suspension bushings also wear as mileage climbs, which affects ride quality more than reliability. When inspecting one, cold starts tell the story. Rough, idle, or hesitation can signal intake buildup. A smooth idle and clean throttle response usually mean it was cared for. Alignment and tire wear also reveal how gently it was driven. The most reliable years run from 2009 to 2012, and today, these cars regularly sell between $6,000 and $9,000, making them one of the cheapest ways into a real Lexus sedan. This is the Lexus for people who don't need speed to feel smart. And coming up last, we end with the quietest sleeper of them all, a Lexus almost nobody talks about, yet somehow refuses to quit. Years ago, this Lexus arrived quietly and left almost no impression. Most buyers walked past it without a second glance, unsure what to make of a luxury hybrid that didn't ask for attention. That moment of confusion is exactly why the HS250H aged the way it did, unnoticed, underappreciated, and still running strong. Beneath that forgettable first impression sits one of the most durable drivetrains Lexus has ever built. A 2.4-liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder works alongside Lexus's proven hybrid system, delivering a combined 187 horsepower through a continuously variable transmission designed for smoothness, not drama. It will never feel fast, but it feels calm, consistent, and stubbornly reliable. Fuel economy stays right around 35 miles per gallon in both city and highway driving, even years later, which quietly adds up to real savings over time. This car makes sense for people who want their vehicle to disappear into their routine. Daily commuters stacking miles, delivery drivers who cannot afford downtime, or anyone watching fuel costs without wanting something that feels like an appliance. The ride is relaxed, outward visibility is excellent, and the interior materials hold up far better than most cars selling at this price point. The biggest myth surrounding the HS250H is fear of the hybrid system. In reality, Lexus hybrid batteries regularly surpass 200,000 miles, and replacement costs today are far lower than people assume. Real-world issues tend to be boring and manageable, including occasional water pump seepage, worn suspension components, and minor interior electronics glitches as the car ages. When inspecting one, pay close attention to how the hybrid system transitions between electric and gasoline power. It should feel seamless and almost unnoticeable. Warning lights, hesitation, or rough engagement are red flags. Also check that the battery cooling fans and ventilation filters are clean, because they are commonly ignored and directly affect long-term battery health. The safest production years fall between 2010 and 2012, and clean examples now sell between $5,000 and $8,000, which makes the value feel almost unfair. This is the Lexus you buy when you want peace. And if you stayed until the end, you now know the sleepers most buyers will never see, which means you'll spend less, stress less, and drive longer. If you're tired of overpriced hype and just want a car that won't quit, these Lexus sleepers prove one thing: smart money lasts longer. Grab your phone, hit subscribe, comment which city you're watching from, and check out the next video for more cars that quietly outlive the competition.